You're watching Taste the Victory.
Let's start X3 off right with one of the most hyped decks in the format, and that is Bloomlord. Bloomlord gets new support in Hydramon along with a couple of other cards in X3 that take it to the next power level. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at Hydramon to see what it brings to the table. It is when Digivolving, you may suspend one Digimon all turns. Once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon is suspended, gain one memory for each other suspended Digimon with these types listed here and one of its traits you have in play. End of your turn, once per turn, if you have two or more suspended Digimon with these traits in one of their traits, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of their deck. Hydramon is amazing because it gives the deck enough gas to go to the next level and power through these meta decks. You get great removal that the deck was sorely missing in the green color. You also have efficient memory gain, and that effect is also all turns, so it punishes your opponent for swinging and trying to attack over your stuff. Hydramon is simply amazing, and there are a couple other tools that help take this deck up to a new level of competitiveness. So let's go ahead like usual and start at the bottom, making our way up to see how we support the strategy. First up are the eggs. We are running a full 5 this time. The main one we're maxing out here is Gummymon because it is inheritable. Your turn, and once per turn, when an opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, draw one. So this is pretty easy for us to trigger, and we want to be able to keep drawing more to make sure we don't brick in green, which is a color that traditionally does not have good draw power, so Gummymon kind of helps out there. And then we have one Argomon. All of our Digimon become suspended so frequently that when they unsuspend, Argomon is basically a free memory gain off of that, which is important to have enough memory for big plays, so we're tossing the one in there. We move on to our rookies. First up, we got two Mushroomons. So he is just a vanilla, but I do like him because he is a vegetation type, which plays into the type that our deck needs to see for the rest of its effects. Plus, it's a 2-drop. So that makes it really efficient to be able to drop at certain points of the game and choke your opponent to 1, or even just 2, just to make sure they don't have a lot of memory. So there is still some utility in it just being a vanilla with a vegetation type, which is why we're running it, but only at 2. Then we have 4 of the Palmon introduced back in BT10. This is 3 to play, 2000 DP. On play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card that contains plants or vegetations in its traits, and 1 card with fairy and its traits among them to your hand, and bottom deck the rest. A good searcher, which is something we need for consistency. So we're going to max it out. Then we have 2 Cherrymon. So this is just a memory blocker because with all the memory gaining we do, and Bloomlord expected to be one of the best decks in the format, it's really good to have a memory blocker in this format for the mirror. And then this also shuts off memory boost from decks like Metal Garurumon or Blue Flare and stuff like that. After that, we have Pomumon, which is just a rookie. 3 memory, 2000 DP, all turns. Players can't play Digimon by effects. So this guy's utility does go down with the ban list taking Crossfire away from the top of the meta, but it's still really good. It hard counters Mushroomon. It slows down Blue Flare enough that it makes their life very difficult and helps you into the matchup. So Pomumon does still definitely have some utility to help slow your opponents down and keep you in the game. Then we have the new Pomumon introduced here in X3. It is only 3 memory to play, 2000 DP, and it has the effect your turn. When an effect suspends its Digimon, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. So this is great to make sure we have ways to get our opponent's Digimon suspended to activate our effects. And being a rookie, it's very easy to get it out on the field and make it live with our effects. Following that, we move on to our champions, of which we are running 4. Here we have RedVegiemon. You see that we were running a lot of vanillas in this deck because we want stuff that is efficient to play, but also has the vegetation, plants, or fairy type in it. So first we have Mushroomon, now we have RedVegiemon. It is 3 to Heart Slam, 1 memory to Digivolve, and 3000 DP. So if we aren't able to climb into this thing, we can slam it pretty efficiently because a champion for 3 is insane, and then you can just suspend it with your Hydramon, your Bloomlord effects, all that good stuff. So we toss it in for its efficient cost and also to have more of those traits that we can hit with our effects. Following that, we have something with an actual effect. We have Sunflowmon. It is 4 to Heart Slam, 2 memory to Digivolve, and 3000 DP. When Digivolving, by suspending one of your green Digimon, you may play 1 Digimon card with vegetation, plants, or fairy and one of its traits and 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. And then it also has the inheritable effect, your turn once per turn, when one of your Digimon is suspended by an effect, draw 1. Great board swarming that we need to be able to get those Digimon on the field to then suspend them with our other effects to make sure Bloomlord and Hydramon have a good board for their effects. And then you also have draw power and it's inheritable, so it's a really great champion for us to max out. After that, we have Weedmon. Weedmon is 4 to Heart Slam, 1 memory to Digivolve, and 3000 DP, and has the inheritable effect, your turn, when this card is trashed due to activating this Digimon's Digiburst, gain 1 memory. So we actually have no way to trigger that. A cool thing you could do is run a 1 of Nidhoggmon. Since you already have so much stuff that is going to be suspending your opponent's Digimon, you could pay it off with Nidhogg. However, Hydramon is pretty efficient in what it does for removal, so you don't really have to run that. Instead, we are just running Weedmon because it's another efficiently costed vegetation Digimon. 4 to Heart Slam if we're breaking, 1 to Digivolve to cycle, and then vegetation makes our effects live, so we really just want it there for that. Don't really care too much for his Digiburst effect. Next up is the level 5s. We have some new stuff introduced in this set that we're going to toss in, and that's going to be the Cherrymon. This is a one-of because its utility has gone down a bit with the ban list hitting Crossheart. So it is 7 to Heart Slam, 3 memory to Digivolve, 7000 DP, Digisorption -2, so that reduces the cost at the cost of suspending one of your Digimon. So that does usually make this thing come out for a Digivolution cost of only 1 memory. It then has the effect opponent's turn, once per turn. When your opponent's Digimon attacks, you may switch the target of the attack to one of your suspended Digimon. That is amazing into certain matchups. Against Crossheart, it was fantastic because they're usually swinging with their X4 to try to get game, and Cherrymon is naturally 7000 DP, so they can't beat over it unless they have like stuff like Darudalmon coming out and DP minusing you. Otherwise, you're gonna have to waste a turn on Sunrise Buster deleting your guy. It is gone now, or at least is not expected to see as much play as it did before, because it is still a playable deck. But now Blue Flare is going to be rising in prominence, and that is also going to run into the same struggles of not being able to get over to Cherrymon unless they see specific cards. So while this card is still really great, we're only running it at 1 as opposed to like 2 or 3, which you may have ran it at before because of the ban list. Again, this is a really fantastic utility card that is kind of like a mini Magnamon X, so if you want to up this, for sure, by all means, go for it. Then we have Ajatarmon from BT10. 8 memory to Heart Slam, 3 to Digivolve, 7000 DP. Main, once per turn, by suspending one of your green Digimon, you may play one Digimon card that contains those traits in its traits with 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its memory cost. And then an inheritable effect, your turn, once per turn, when one of your Digimon becomes suspended by an effect, gain 1 memory. Inheritable is fantastic to make sure we always have memory to make big plays on our turn. And then being able to swarm your board with its main effect is awesome to make sure we have a big enough board to get all these effects off for our top end. It's really good and important for getting your board established, so we're gonna max this out at 4. Then we have Blossomon. This is a really old card from all the way back in 1.5. It simply has the effect Digisorption -3. So as you can tell, they never really printed any more Digisorption cards quite like Blossomon because it was way too efficient. With its Digisorption effect, this literally Digivolves for free, and it's a level 5. That's actually pretty insane. So this helps you climb quickly to your Omega. It gets you a free draw. It helps extend your combos. It's an amazing card. You definitely want to max it out at 4 since it plays into the type by being vegetation and is a free Digivolution all the way up to a level 5. We then get to the fun part of the deck, our Megas. We start off with Bloomlord, of which we are maxing out at 4 copies. It is 4 memory to Digivolve into, 12,000 DP. When Digivolving, you may suspend one of your Digimon, then for each of your suspended Digimon that contains these types and its traits, gain 1 memory. When you gain 2 or more memory with this effect, unsuspend this Digimon, and this Digimon gains Piercing for the turn. Your turn, for every 2 of your suspended Digimon, this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP and gains Security Attack +1. It's a very powerful finisher because Bloomlord is aiming to OTK between all of its checks, Piercing, and being able to unsuspend and stuff like that. It's a great ender. It puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Your deck is able to set up its condition for it to gain the Piercing and Security Attack +1 incredibly easily now in X3. Since it is the main win con and boss monster, we are maxing it out at 4. Then we have Hydramon. We went over its utility at the beginning of this video. It's amazing to be able to answer your opponent's board and continually annoy them by gaining memory on their turn and punishing them. And to round out our list, we have our options and tamers. First up is Hidden Potential Discovered. You run however many copies the ban list lets you run. This is a free Digivolution at any point to any of your levels, and it's absolutely insane to help you extend combos and win game with 1 card. Then we have Samādhi Śānti. This is 1 cost. You may suspend one of your Digimon to suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers, and your opponent's card suspended with this effect can't unsuspend until the end of their next turn. So this is great to get more ways to suspend your own Digimon after you've used up your 1 Digivolving effects. It also stuns your opponent's Digimon for a turn, so that's powerful, and being able to do that against Tamers is really useful against stuff like Blue Flare, which you would otherwise struggle into. You could definitely up this count if you want to play around with the ratios of something else. I think 1 is good though. You won't really need to use much more than that. So it's really great to get our stuff suspended while also stunning your opponent's board and playing into Hydramon. Then we got Green Memory Boost. It lets you search the top 4 for a green card, so it's amazing for consistency, and then you could delay it later to gain 2 memory to help you make a big play to push for game. Finally, our last card is going to be 3 Mimi Tachikawa, because it is 4 memory to play, start of your turn guarantees you 3 memory, and then if you have a level 5 or higher green Digimon in play, you can suspend this tamer to hatch 1 Digimon card to an empty space in your breeding area, or move 1 level 3 or higher Digimon from your breeding area to your battle area. It's an incredibly powerful tamer. Not only does Mimi guarantee you 3 memory to make big plays, it also lets you push out an egg for lethal potentially if you have 2 of them on the field, and you could do it in 1 turn. And if not, you could hatch an extra egg with this to get you an extra draw to see a piece you may be missing. It's a really versatile, powerful tamer. And that is going to be the list. Bloomlord aims to flood your board and gain powerful effects at the cost of your stuff being suspended. You have control options to keep your opponent's board in check and eventually go for game with the OTK off of Bloomlord, and some combination of another rookie on the field or Mimi for game. So there are some tech choices that we could do. If you don't want to run the Mushroomon vanilla, we do have the Palmon from an old green starter deck, which is vegetation and has the inheritable to give you plus 2000 DP for the turn when it attacks an opponent's Digimon. That is really good if you're not able to remove something for whatever reason and be able to swing over it that way. And pair with Bloomlord's DP boosting already, you will basically never fear any DP threshold insecurity. Since we run the 3 green tamers, a hybrid for game is not a bad idea either. You could toss in one Argomon if you want to go for that angle, and as mentioned earlier, you could also toss in a Nidhoggmon to get more control options since you're already suspending your opponent's Digimon anyways. That is going to be the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know how you guys are building Bloomlord and any changes you would make to the list. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, remember to stay hungry until you get a taste of victory.